You might be reaching for the same everyday foods without a second thought, not realizing they're quietly chipping away at your mood, stealing your sleep, and fogging up your memory. Even more alarming, these choices could be contributing to actual brain shrinkage over time. No dramatic symptoms to tip you off, just a slow, silent decline. And it's not mainly from getting older, chronic stress, or family history. It's often tied directly to what's on your plate day after day. The real eye-opener? Many of these seemingly innocent, convenient snacks and meals pack hidden compounds that can inflame brain tissue, damage delicate nerve connections, interfere with vital neurotransmitters, and erode cognitive function bit by bit. What's truly frustrating is that even diligent label readers get blindsided because these problematic ingredients often masquerade under a laundry list of obscure scientific names or vague terms that don't raise red flags. It's not that you're being reckless with what you eat, far from it. The real issue is how the food industry has been pulling the wool over our eyes for years, slipping harmful stuff into everyday staples while we trust they're looking out for us. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 10 common foods that could be quietly harming your brain function day in and day out, and I'll share the key nutrients proven to shield your memory, keep your thinking sharp, and help stabilize your mood. This is your wake-up call. Let's take back control starting right now. How food affects your brain. Ever wonder why that morning donut gives you an instant rush? Your mood perks up, your brain feels sharp and energized, and everything seems a little brighter? But then, just a couple of hours later, the crash hits hard. You're dragging, foggy-headed, snapping at little things, and struggling to concentrate on even simple tasks. If you're over 60, these ups and downs can feel even more intense and frequent. And no, it's not because you're fragile or simply getting older. It's your brain doing exactly what biology wired it to do, reacting strongly when we overload it with quick-burning sugars and refined carbs that spike energy fast but leave us depleted soon after. What you eat doesn't just fill your stomach, it directly influences your brain in powerful ways. It can shift your mood, sharpen or cloud your thinking, strengthen or weaken your memory, boost or drain your energy, and even sway your emotions. This isn't some vague idea. It's straight-up biology at work. Every bite of refined sugar, every overly sweet pastry, or every gulp of sugary soda floods your system, quickly altering brain chemicals like dopamine, the feel-good reward signal, and serotonin, the mood stabilizer. Sure, that initial hit often feels amazing, a quick lift that lights up your day, but it's usually fleeting, and the downside can be steep. Your brain starts craving more to chase that high, while the inevitable crash leaves you feeling off balance, irritable, and wiped out, like riding a wild roller coaster without buckling up. Most folks don't realize just how demanding the brain really is. It makes up only about 2% of your body weight, yet it guzzles roughly 20% of your total energy supply every day. And unlike your muscles, which can store fuel for later, the brain runs on a just-in-time system with no real reserves. That means slip-ups in your diet tend to slam your cognitive function first and hardest, leaving you foggy, tired, or moody faster than you might expect. The great part? You don't need pills or fancy supplements to shield your brain and keep it firing on all cylinders. All it takes is knowing which common foods are quietly working against you and which ones actually fuel sharper thinking and better mood. But before we dive into the nutrients and eats that can help protect your memory and focus, let's pull back the curtain on 10 ordinary items you probably have in your pantry or fridge right now that could be chipping away at your brain health without you even suspecting it. The 10 foods that may be damaging your brain. 1. MSG, monosodium glutamate. Ever catch yourself polishing off a bag of chips or takeout that wasn't even that amazing, yet you couldn't stop reaching for more? It's not always about incredible flavor. Often, it's your brain getting hijacked by clever food engineering. One of the biggest players in this game is MSG, short for monosodium glutamate, hidden in everything from snacks to soups. MSG delivers a concentrated hit of free glutamate, which acts as a supercharged excitotoxin in your brain. a natural compound that's crucial for sharp thinking, learning, and memory when balanced right. But flood your system with too much through regular processed foods, and it keeps your neurons firing over time, leaving your brain in a constant revved-up state with barely any downtime to recover and recharge. That initial buzz from MSG-laden foods can trick you into feeling more alert and energized at first. But over months and years, keeping your brain in that constant on mode starts to take a toll, leading to what's known in science as excitotoxicity, where neurons get overworked to the point of actual damage or death. You might not connect the dots right away, but this buildup can quietly fuel chronic headaches, heightened anxiety, stubborn sleep troubles, and that frustrating brain fog that makes focusing feel impossible. Issues that often hit harder and more frequently once we're over 60. On top of that, MSG amps up the umami factor, making processed foods taste irresistibly savory and rewarding, which rewires your brain to chase that exaggerated flavor hit. Pretty soon, fresh, whole foods like vegetables or simply prepared meals start tasting dull by comparison, leaving your natural appetite vulnerable to constant cravings for junk. The sneakiness doesn't stop there. MSG rarely shows up plainly on labels. It hides under a bunch of different names, like hydrolyzed protein, autolyzed yeast extract, or even natural flavors, making it tough for even the most diligent shoppers to spot and avoid. 2. Alcohol. I bet you've heard it, or even said it yourself. Just a glass of wine at night helps me unwind and sleep better. A little can't hurt, right? It's a common thought, but here's the reality check. Alcohol doesn't just get processed by your liver and vanish. It crosses straight into your brain where it leaves lasting effects. The truth is, alcohol acts as a neurotoxin. Studies show that even moderate regular drinking can lead to a gradual reduction in brain volume, especially in regions tied to memory, decision-making, and mood stability. Plus, while it might knock you out quicker at first, it actually sabotages the deep restorative stages of sleep your brain desperately needs to recharge and repair overnight. Alcohol doesn't just stop at your brain, it can also rough up your gut lining over time, paving the way for what's often called leaky gut. Once that gut barrier gets compromised and inflammation kicks in, it sends signals straight to your brain via the powerful gut-brain connection, sparking subtle but persistent neuroinflammation. That can show up in everyday ways. Constant tiredness, getting irritated over nothing, that annoying mental haze, and those frustrating "where did I put my keys" moments. On top of that, regular drinking ramps up your chances of insulin resistance and fatty liver buildup. When your body's insulin response gets thrown off, your brain has a harder time grabbing the steady glucose it needs to stay sharp, even if you've just eaten a full meal. It's like your stomach's satisfied, but your brain is still running on fumes, leaving you drained and unfocused. 3. Refined grains. There's something undeniably comforting about a slice of soft white bread, a bowl of white rice, or a plate of classic white pasta. They go down easy and feel like home. But those refined grains are often doing more harm than good when it comes to keeping your blood sugar steady. The refining process strips away the nutritious bran and germ layers, leaving behind mostly pure starch with little fiber, vitamins, or protective antioxidants to slow things down. The result? Your body breaks it down lightning fast, sending blood sugar soaring, triggering a big insulin response, and then, bam, the inevitable drop that leaves you dragging. Those repeated roller coaster rides don't just sap your energy. They can train your brain to run on shaky fuel over time. You might notice more frequent brain fog, tiredness, or random mood swings, and it's easy to blame just getting older. But often, it's simply your brain struggling without the consistent, even energy it needs to stay sharp and steady. 4. Fried foods. Picture this: the massive fryers at your favorite fast food joint, filled with oil that's been heating for hours on end, getting darker and thicker with every batch. That oil isn't staying fresh. It's turning into a nasty mix of oxidized fats and pro-inflammatory compounds from all the repeated high-heat abuse. These damaged fats don't just burden your liver. Some of them are small enough to slip right through the blood-brain barrier and directly irritate or harm delicate brain cells. Pair that with the typical coating of refined white flour on fries, nuggets, or onion rings, and you've got a 1-2 punch. Rapid blood sugar spikes from the starch plus chronic inflammation from the rancid oils. And here's the thing. Simply swapping to an air fryer at home won't magically fix it if you're still loading up on the same highly processed seed oils, like canola or soybean, and reaching for ultra-processed fried snacks on the regular. The root issue runs deeper than the cooking method. 5. Mercury-rich fish. We've all heard that fish is brain food, packed with omega-3s that support sharp thinking and a healthy mood. But here's the catch. Not every fillet or can is doing your brain any favors. Mercury, a potent neurotoxin that's completely invisible, no taste, no odor, builds up most in big predatory fish that sit at the top of the ocean food chain. Over time, that mercury can settle into your nervous system, quietly interfering with memory, focus, coordination, and mental quickness. The scariest part? It often creeps in without any obvious red flags, just a subtle feeling of not being as sharp as you used to be, more forgetful moments, or a general slowdown that you might blame on age. As a rule of thumb, the bigger and longer-lived the fish, the higher the mercury load tends to be. Think tuna, swordfish, or king mackerel. On the flip side, smaller guys lower on the food chain, like sardines, anchovies, wild-caught salmon, and herring, usually carry far less risk while still delivering those valuable brain-boosting nutrients. 6. Green potatoes, solanine. If you've ever grabbed a potato from the pantry and noticed green patches on the skin or little sprouts poking out, don't just shrug it off as no big deal. That greenish tint is often a red flag for elevated levels of solanine, a natural compound the potato produces as a defense when it's exposed to too much light or other stressors. Solanine isn't something to mess around with. It can trigger headaches, nausea, stomach upset, or even neurological issues like confusion in higher doses. The kicker? Regular cooking methods, boiling, baking, or frying, don't fully break it down. If the potato is noticeably green under the skin or loaded with sprouts, you're better off tossing the whole thing rather than risking it by just cutting away the bad parts. Your brain and gut will thank you. 7. Vegetable oils high in omega-6. A lot of the everyday cooking oils lining grocery store shelves, like corn, soybean, sunflower, canola, and grapeseed, are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6s aren't inherently villainous. Your body actually needs them for all sorts of functions. The trouble starts when our typical American diet piles on way too much omega-6 while skimping on omega-3s from sources like fatty fish or flax seeds. That lopsided ratio tips the scales toward ongoing low-level inflammation throughout the body. And yes, that includes your brain. Over the years, this quiet fire can play a role in throwing off your mood, speeding up memory slips or fuzzy thinking, and messing with your ability to get solid, restorative sleep, especially if you're already in a more vulnerable spot as we get older. 8. Soda, regular in diet. Soda might look like harmless, bubbly refreshment, but regular versions pack a serious punch with massive doses of sugar or high fructose corn syrup that hammer your liver and crank up insulin resistance over time. When your body's insulin response gets thrown off, your brain has a tougher time grabbing the steady glucose it relies on to stay sharp and energized. On top of that, many sodas are loaded with phosphoric acid, which can gradually mess with your body's mineral balance, pulling calcium from bones or depleting magnesium, a key player in keeping your nerves firing properly and your energy levels stable. Don't think switching to diet soda gets you off the hook either. Those artificial sweeteners can trick your appetite hormones, ramp up cravings for sweets, and leave some folks dealing with mood swings or tummy troubles. At the end of the day, both kinds of soda condition your brain to chase quick highs followed by draining lows, setting up a cycle that's hard to break and takes a real toll as we get older. 9. Trans fats. Trans fats lurk in a ton of processed stuff we grab without thinking. Think bargain bin cookies and crackers, greasy fast food fries, microwave popcorn, and those tempting fried snacks at the drive-thru. They're not just empty calories. They actually mess with the very structure of your cell membranes, including the ones in your brain, which can slow down vital communication between neurons and leave you feeling less sharp. On top of that, these artificial fats fuel chronic inflammation and throw your metabolism out of whack, setting the stage for bigger problems down the road. If keeping your mind clear and strong is a priority, and it should be as we get older, ditching trans fats is one of the simplest, most impactful nope decisions you can make. Your brain will thank you for it. 10. Sugar might just be the sneakiest and most widespread threat to your brain health that most of us face every single day, often without a clue it's even happening. Here's why it hits so hard. That quick hit of sugar sends your blood glucose skyrocketing, prompting a big insulin surge to bring it back down. But when this cycle repeats over months and years, your cells, including the ones in your brain, can start becoming resistant to insulin signal. Suddenly, your brain isn't getting the steady stream of glucose it needs to run at full power, leaving you feeling mentally drained, foggy-headed, and sluggish, even when you've eaten enough calories to fuel a marathon. Excessive fructose, from high fructose corn syrup and added sugars, doesn't just pile on empty calories. It overloads your liver, promoting fat buildup there while making your whole body less sensitive to insulin. In fact, some leading researchers now call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of how closely brain fog, memory loss, and cognitive decline track with this kind of insulin dysfunction in the brain. The real kicker? Sugar hides in plain sight just about everywhere these days. Barbecue sauces, sandwich breads, breakfast cereals, snack bars, even those light or healthy yogurts and grab-and-go meals. You might honestly believe you're keeping it moderate, but those hidden grams add up fast, pushing your daily total way higher than you realize and quietly working against your brain health. What nourishes and protects your brain? Now that we've uncovered those sneaky everyday foods and habits that could be quietly working against your brain health, let's flip the script and focus on the good stuff. The simple, powerful choices that nourish your mind, boost clarity, and help keep you sharp day after day. 1. Healthy fats, omega-3 and omega-6 balance. Your brain is mostly fat. Once you account for all the water, a huge part of its structure comes down to healthy lipids that keep everything running smoothly. Think of it like premium insulation around your neural wiring. Strong, flexible membranes mean signals zip through quickly and clearly, keeping your thoughts sharp and your reactions on point. Both omega-3 and omega-6 fats are essential. Your body can't make them on its own, but getting the balance right is everything. Unfortunately, the typical American diet tips way too far toward omega-6s from processed foods and vegetable oils, while skimping on omega-3s, which quietly fuels ongoing low-level inflammation in the brain. Boosting omega-3 rich choices like salmon, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, or flax seeds can help restore that balance, supporting clearer focus, better mood stability, and overall brain resilience as we age. 2. Protein and amino acids. Your brain's chemical messengers, the neurotransmitters that control your mood, motivation, and focus, are built from amino acids, which come straight from the proteins you eat. Things like serotonin for calm and happiness, dopamine for drive and pleasure, and norepinephrine for alertness all depend on a steady supply of these building blocks from your meals. Skip the protein and load up on a breakfast heavy in refined carbs and sugars, like pastries, cereal, or toast with jam, and you'll often get that short-lived dopamine rush followed by a nasty crash, sudden irritability, mental haze, and zero energy. But when you prioritize quality protein sources, think eggs, fatty fish, chicken, turkey, or Greek yogurt, plenty of folks report sailing through the day with more even-keeled emotions, sharper concentration, and fewer of those frustrating mid-morning slumps. 3. Micronutrients and antioxidants. Over the years, everyday factors like pollution, stress, and even normal metabolism create oxidative stress. a kind of silent rust that slowly wears down your brain cells and speeds up cognitive decline. The good news? Nature's packed with powerful antioxidants from plants that step in to neutralize those harmful free radicals and help shield your neurons. On top of that, B vitamins play a starring role in keeping your brain humming smoothly, especially B6, B12, and folate, B9, which support everything from neurotransmitter production to efficient energy use in brain cells. Load up on colorful fruits and veggies, and you'll get a double win. A flood of protective antioxidants, plus a solid dose of these essential Bs to guard against long-term damage and keep your mind clear and resilient. 5 daily habits that support brain health. You don't have to reach for supplements or medications to start noticing clearer thinking and better focus. Real change comes from building a few smart, everyday habits that stick. Kick things off with something super simple. Stay hydrated. Even slight dehydration can amp up tiredness and that annoying mental haze, hitting harder as we get older when our thirst signals aren't as strong. Keeping up with plain water throughout the day helps your brain cells communicate better, flushes out toxins, and keeps your energy and sharpness on an even keel. Next up, think about trying time-restricted eating if it feels right for your routine and any health considerations you have. A lot of folks notice their mind feels sharper and more steady when they cut out the nonstop grazing, letting their body and brain run on a more even, predictable fuel supply instead of constant ups and downs. Another option some people swear by is adding MCT oil to their coffee or meals. It quickly converts to ketones, which can serve as a super efficient alternative fuel for your brain, especially helpful during longer stretches without food or when you're looking for that extra mental edge. Fourth on the list, make quality sleep a non-negotiable priority. While you're out cold, your brain is hard at work strengthening memories, processing the day's events, and literally washing away built-up toxins. Skimping on shut-eye, regularly getting fewer than 6 or 7 hours, has been tied again and again to fuzzier recall, slower thinking, and poorer choices, especially as we get older. Fifth, do everything you can to keep your blood sugar on an even keel. That means teaming any carbs with plenty of protein, fiber-rich veggies, and good fats to slow absorption and avoid those wild spikes and crashes. At the same time, cut way back on ultra-processed snacks loaded with refined sugars and flours. They're the biggest culprits behind energy dips and brain fog. Questions and answers. Question 1. Can dark chocolate actually boost your memory? Dark chocolate can absolutely be a smart treat for your brain when you choose the right kind. Opt for bars with at least 70% cacao, or higher, and minimal added sugar. That rich, deep flavor comes from the cocoa itself, packed with beneficial compounds like flavonoids that support better blood flow and cognitive function, all while keeping those blood sugar spikes in check. Just enjoy it in moderation, a square or two after a meal, and you'll get the indulgence without the downsides. Question 2. Does collagen support brain health as you age? While collagen supplements get a ton of hype for smoother skin and happier joints, and there's some solid backing for those perks, the story changes when it comes to your brain. Truth is, the research just isn't convincing yet that popping collagen pills or powders will sharpen your memory, lift your mood, or give your cognitive edge a real boost. It's smart to keep expectations realistic and focus on the brain protective habits we know actually deliver results. Question 3. Does caffeine from green tea work differently on the brain than coffee? Absolutely. Green tea can be a smarter swap if you're looking for steady, calm focus without the edge. It naturally contains L-theanine, an amino acid that teams up with caffeine to promote relaxed alertness and smoother concentration. Coffee, on the other hand, delivers a bigger caffeine punch that can leave some folks feeling jittery, wired, or even anxious, especially when you drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Question 4. Can low-carb or keto diets cause brain fog, and should you be concerned? It's pretty common to hit a patch of brain fog in the early days of switching to keto. Your body is adjusting to burning fat for fuel instead of carbs, and that transition can feel rough at first. The good news is that for a lot of folks, things clear up and energy stabilizes down the road, but only if you're loading up on plenty of healthy fats and quality protein to keep things running smoothly. That said, keto isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It works great for some, but isn't the best fit for everybody. Question 5. Why does a heavy, starchy meal make you feel so tired? Those big, heavy meals can sneakily sabotage your energy. Your blood sugar shoots up from all the carbs, insulin floods in to handle it, and then everything comes crashing down, leaving you wiped out and sleepy. On top of that, a full stomach ramps up calming brain chemicals that make you feel drowsy. The fix is simple. Build balanced plates with plenty of protein, healthy fats, and fiber alongside your carbs to keep blood sugar steady and avoid those draining afternoon slumps. Closing message. Your brain runs the show. It's the command center for everything from your thoughts and memories to your emotions and daily decisions. Yet, it's the one organ we tend to overlook the most. A sharp chest pain sends us rushing to the doctor, and stubborn heartburn has us popping antacids, but the slow erosion of brain health? It creeps in quietly, without fanfare, gradually dimming your recall, destabilizing your mood, and chipping away at the independence we all cherish. I'd love to hear your take on this. Of the 10 everyday foods we covered that could be quietly working against your brain, which one caught you completely off guard? What's something you used to think was perfectly fine, or even healthy, that now has you rethinking your choices? Drop it in the comments below. Let's get the conversation going and look out for each other. Drop a comment down below and let me know what hit home for you or what you're planning to change starting today. If you know someone who's always battling sleepless nights, random mood swings, or those frustrating senior moments without a clue why, go ahead and share this with them. And if you're ready for more straightforward, no-nonsense advice that puts real knowledge in your hands instead of just scaring you, hit that follow button. Trust me, your sharper, happier future self will be glad you did. You're probably reaching for the same everyday foods without a second thought, not realizing they're quietly dragging down your mood, stealing your sleep, and clouding your memory. Even worse, these choices could be contributing to gradual brain shrinkage over time. No obvious alarms, just a slow fade you might blame on stress, age, or genetics. But often, it's tied straight to those familiar items landing on your plate day after day.